I?
Boo.
Boo.
We're live. Did we scare you? Happy Halloween to everyone. Welcome to another Carnivore MasterMind, the spooky edition. We're all excited to be hanging out with you guys, ladies and gentlemen, this evening and talking about mindset, tricks, and treats. I thought this might be kind of a interesting way to frame the topic for tonight, to talk about, different things that either work for us or against us in terms of how we think through, holidays like this. I know this time of year we kind of do a lot of themes around getting through the holidays and how to handle all this stuff, but I think it's good to continue to talk about it because it's something that we all probably struggle with to some degree. We'll find out. I'm sure Rick will probably claim that he never does, but but you know what I mean. It's always good to just come together and support each other and talk about some different ways to think about approaching these kinds of events. We just got back from trick-or-treating, my little one and I, and did a little bit of that. So anyway, thanks everybody for joining. And we have an excellent panel here. Let me throw up everybody's names because I had that turned off for some reason. But we'll kind of go around as we usually do and just give us your thoughts. No, I can't find it. On, do you have any struggles within your mindset about how you approach, Halloween, the coming up holidays, or do you have any tricks that work for you that kind of help get you out of maybe a situation where you're like, oh, I feel like I want to indulge, or I don't know really how to handle this situation? Give us your words of wisdom. And we'll start with Ellie.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ellie from Nourishment Redacted here on YouTube. And hey, DC. I would say that this time of year can be really difficult for a lot of people. And I want to send some encouragement that if you feel like you are struggling mentally with this, that it's normal because you're fighting against traditions that you've probably had your whole life. And I think a lot of it involving food, it's like we can't escape food. We always talk about how it's difficult to moderate an addiction if you have an addiction to like carbs and sugar and stuff, because it's so embedded in our society. It's embedded in how we function, and it's like a basic need, right? But I think that it's important to remember that holidays are about family and friends. And if that's kind of one of my my tricks is that you should focus on the meaningful connection with people as opposed to the candy or the cookies and the sweets, because those things are fleeting and they're going to hurt you in the end. Whereas if you're surrounding yourself with people who love you, that's going to be a real treat.
Love that. We'll go to John next.
Okay, I'm John Laspina. I'm Carnivore Teacher, and the way a trick to stay on track for me, now this is what works for me, it may not work for other people, is mine is more mental and educational, because I guess maybe I'm a teacher. Knowledge to me really helps me feel like I'm in control. I know that when I remember having something absolutely amazing and delicious that tempts me, for me it was always anything sweet, anything chocolatey, all this holiday stuff, is to just remember that it's 6 or 7 seconds of pleasure. That's all I get from it, is when I'm chewing, tasting, swallowing, done. Now I have to deal with a day or a week of longer term issues of inflammation and problems and more cravings. So I just have to say to myself, it's just not worth that short term pleasure. It's not worth it to me. For what happens to you long term. Also, I get busy doing something. If an urge comes on, I know I had a meal. We talked about this last night on my channel. We just I find something to do to keep myself busy, and then within 5 or 10 minutes, that urge goes away. You know, it may have been an urge for a snack or food, but really it wasn't emotion. You know, I was bored, I was frustrated or something. And I, you know, used to reach for food. And so I don't need to do that. Are we talking about our treats or just our tricks right now?
Either or. Throw them
Okay,
all
well,
out there.
I'll leave it at the tricks, and then I'll talk about treats maybe when we go around the circle again. So that's the tricks I use to stay on track, and they work for me.
Cool. Rick?
Yeah, well, I'm the oddball here as always. I was never brought up with this Halloween thing because we're a very Christian family, so we avoided that holiday. But on the other hand, when it comes to candy, I hated that too. So I was a pretty bad example because that stuff didn't tempt me. But I do go to a lot of get togethers. We have friends that we get together, we'll have a barbecue or meal. A lot of people I know, they enjoy baked goods, they enjoy dessert, they enjoy breads, they enjoy pasta and a lot of fruits and vegetables. But it's not really a problem because none of that stuff actually tempts me. They can have it in front of me. It doesn't bother me, but I just don't want to eat it. So this is the thing. Now, when it comes to tricks, I think one of the most important things to understand is that a lot of times people may not be happy with what they're doing. They may be eating something and they feel kind of bad about it. So they want other people to join in. And I notice that some get togethers, they always offer it to you. And when you don't take it, they go, "Well, what's wrong? You don't like my cooking? Oh, I don't know. There's something strange about you." So they try to make you feel guilty. I'll tell them, "No, I just don't like it. I would rather wait for the steak or whatever meat you're going to have, and I'll have that." "Well, how about a salad?" "Well, I don't want to eat leaves. I mean, I could go outside and eat some grass, but that's not going to be good." And then they always have to pour all these concoctions on the salad to make it taste good. They put all the salad dressing and the other stuff. I said, "Well, I tell you what," and I actually learned this from one of these carnivore videos. The last time somebody offered me a salad, I said, "Okay, I'll have a salad, but leave out anything that's green and any kind of dressing or any." I just started listing all the things that were in the salad, the croutons and all that. I said, "What's left?" "Well, you can give me the cheese and the bacon. I'll take that." So I'll have that as a salad. And when it comes to a treat, meat is a treat for me. So whenever we have a get together, my friends know they usually put me on the barbecue because I'm usually the one that's going to be grilling. So while they're indulging in the bread and the pasta and all the other things they like, I'm out there splitting wood, lighting the fire, getting the charcoal ready, setting up the grill. And by the time they've had that food, or at least, they've had their conversation, they'll all go out to the grill, have a conversation out there. And then the good thing is, by the time they've eaten that other stuff, they won't eat that much meat. So that just leaves more meat for me. And of course, while I'm cooking, that I'm sampling, that I'm eating, because I'm going to eat half of what I'm going to eat while I'm cooking. And then that way, because a lot of people I know, they prefer the meal to be the meat more well done. I like it a little more on the rare side. So I'll taste it. And as long as no one tries to interfere and tries to show me how to grill, everyone's happy with the result. So really, when it comes down to it, any get together that I go to, whether it's a family event or whatever it is, we all get satisfied. I don't really feel like I have to trick anyone, and it's always a treat. And anytime that I get to spend time with my friends, that's a treat in itself.
Well, I'd have to say that I'm feeling, I guess, somewhat fortunate in the fact that my kids are older. So I'm out of the got to take them trick or treating phase. They're 16 and 18. So we're not turning on our porch light. I'm going to use the evening to relax. But before I tell you more about that, I would say if I had little kids, I would, and they wanted to trick or treat, I think that I would let them do that. And then I would buy their candy from them to let them get a toy or something else if I didn't want them eating all that sweet stuff. My kids never had that problem. And I'm telling you, I think it's because I never made them clean their plate. I really think that helped out a lot with that kind of stuff. I would, you clean your pantry. Like Ellie just made a video a little bit ago cleaning out her pantry. Remember that, Ellie? So you clean your pantry, periodically. And I've done that over the years. And I found like Halloween candy from, I don't know, 2 years ago. They just didn't eat it. They would eat 1 or 2 pieces. And there it all was. So that's kind of cool. But so I would definitely do like the candy buyback program, I think, if my kids were still little, and just enjoy the socializing of walking around the neighborhood, checking out everyone else in their costumes, talking to the neighbors and that kind of thing. Myself, I'm going to do something that I enjoy, which is I love a good soak in my giant bathtub with some Epsom salts. For me, that is a nice treat. So my kids are little. They're not. I remember when they were when my kids were little, I could not do that because they would constantly be wanting in wherever I was. But now I don't have that problem. So I'm going to enjoy something like that. So I recommend, if you, similar to what John was saying, find something else to do. My thing is a hot bath. You could go for a walk, that kind of a thing, something that you enjoy. Open up a good book. And to me, that is a treat, as well as meat. So if you still are struggling, and I did at the beginning, definitely still struggled with cravings, bacon was a good go-to, or even a little bit of cheese, something that's a little bit, decadent, that kind of makes you feel like that. And you just eat your way through it. Something that's, carnivore, that's okay with you. I like Lori's idea. Watch a live stream. Yes. Something amazing like that. And then as far as mindset, I think mindset plays a lot into it. So it's kind of like reframing in your mind what a treat even is and what food is. So food is something that's going to give your body nutrition, and candy definitely isn't going to do that. But my brain has been, I think, totally reprogrammed. When I look at that stuff, it doesn't even appeal to me. I think of it as something that's almost like a poison. I don't look at it and then go, "Ooh, I really wish I could have that." It's just not appealing. And so I think changing your mindset in that regard, I think, is been very helpful, to think about what my body actually needs, and candy is not it.
Okay, is everybody ready for the chocolate bar incident? Okay, I've been talking about this, so I'm going to tell you about my pre-Halloween chocolate bar incident that happened at my mom's house. So I have an 84-year-old mom. She's a very wonderful Jewish mother, right? And after dinner, she offered me, I have this chocolate, this delicious dark chocolate with almonds, your favorite. Well, of course it is. I'm like, Mom, I'm a carnivore, I'm blah, 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 blah. Oh, it's not going to hurt. Listen, you only live once. She used every trick. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll have one square. Famous last words. Well, I ate the one square. Then I had, I could have one more square. I haven't had chocolate in 19 months. I've been so good. I've lost 101 pounds, reverse diabetes, blah, blah, blah. Well, what happened? I ate the entire chocolate bar. Then I went around and started looking for more chocolate in her. If there was 5 chocolate bars, I bet you I would have eaten all 5. Anyway, so that sent me down a spiral. And I told John this last night. We did the carnivore classroom, and Rick was there. I must have had 4 chocolate bars over the next few days. So I'm cold turkey back on plan for the past 3-4 days now, or whatever it is. And I got to tell you, my migraines came back, those intense sugar headaches, my joint pain came back, Neah, my stomach, my IBS, everything, just in 3 days. So I guess the lesson that I learned is this. I am a hardcore. It doesn't matter if you're 19 months, you lost 100 pounds, you're just kicking butt on carnivore. If you are a sugar and carb addict, it's just like if you're an alcoholic, you're an alcoholic. And I've learned that I can't have these things. And I don't want these things. I felt so terrible. And although now I feel okay, I'm back to normal, feel good, the sugar and carb cravings are back. You know what I mean? They had been completely dormant, gone away. So what I would tell you is this. You got to make sure that you do need to make sure, one, never let yourself get hungry, right? Now, this wasn't an issue of me being hungry. This was just buckling and thinking, if I just have one little tiny piece of this chocolate bar, I'm going to be okay. And that's all I'm going to eat is one little tiny piece. That's not how it goes, guys, right? I mean, I don't know if any of you, you have one blueberry, what happens? You know what I mean? You might eat the whole pint. So, the main thing is don't let yourself get hungry, and you need to just have an awareness of what your addiction is and know that if you do indulge, you really do risk. So you have that one little fun size candy bar out of that your child's bag. Don't be surprised if you go on a bender. Okay, so the main thing is just stay on plan, stay focused, know who you are, and you'll be okay. You'll be okay. And never let yourself get hungry. Eat, eat, eat. And I know Rick said yesterday, or maybe it was today, I don't remember. He said, I will eat 2 pounds of meat twice a day. He eats 4 pounds of meat. Now, I'm not saying eat 4 pounds of meat, but for Rick, he doesn't ever have cravings. Why? Because he's not hungry. And I will tell you, that's a big one for me.
Yeah, I think I would agree with all of that, actually. I think most people eat out of boredom, and they get distracted, and they think, well, they just want something to do. They just want to start feeding themselves. I don't think there's anything wrong with participating in like trick or treat or anything like that. You've got neighborhood doing that sort of thing. But yeah, try not to be hungry when you're doing that. If you're hungry and you're handing out candies and things like that, or chocolates or anything to kids, that's going to be really difficult sort of situation. So try and make sure that you're just not hungry throughout this period. I would think, like, we don't actually celebrate Halloween traditionally in Australia, but this is something that I found interesting. When I was in Japan, they have what's called Obon Week, and it's very similar. It's the same process as Halloween. During May, they have 3 days where they believe that the spirits of their ancestors or their family come to visit the home, and they put food out for them for their journey home, when they return to the spirit world. And it's exactly the same as Mexico has the Day of the Dead. There are many cultures around the world all have the same holiday or the same ritual, except that now, like in America and globally, I suppose the Western world, Halloween is very, very much a corporatized, sort of buy candy sort of ritual, I guess. I think one thing that in Japan, they are very good at moderation, much better than I am. They don't really suffer the same sort of addictions that we do. So they're also educated in like put out real food. Like nothing is ultra processed. They'll make like a small bowl of rice, some meat. Like they'll even put out some salmon and things like that for their ancestors, right? Most of them have like small shrines in their homes as well, to remember their family, and that's what it's really about. It's about remembrance, remembering your family and people that have sort of left you in the past, sort of thing. I think that's educating your kids, I think, along those lines too, I think would be really helpful, because it works in Japan. They don't crave things like candy and chocolate bars and things like that. And they do celebrate Halloween as well, because they love it. They actually enjoy, dressing up, and they have Halloween parties, and same time of year. They have, street festivals and things like that, just because it's just fun. And I've got nothing against that. But they are more about the fun aspect side of things. Like they don't go out, and it's not about candy bars and things like that. But apart from that, I think, like everyone else said, don't allow yourself to get hungry. Don't be afraid to participate in the Halloween rituals, but just make sure that you are, I think, well prepared. Like don't do it hungry. Don't try and remember what it's for too. What it's really about. I think would help. Wayne.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. And yep, we have one final addition to our panel this evening. I don't know if you've all seen my interview with him recently on my podcast channel. If you've not subscribed over there, by the way, get your booties over there and subscribe to my podcast channel, because I'm putting all my long form interviews over there, and they're amazing. And I just put one up a couple weeks back with Wayne Walker, the carnivore hypnotist. So welcome to Mastermind. We're talking about, mindset tricks and treats, what things work for us to try to, manage cravings or temptations during this time of year. And if you need a minute to think, I can go because everyone else has had a turn, or if you're ready, then we can hear your thoughts. Unless you want me to go.
I think you're on mute, Wayne.
You're muted.
Unmute, Wayne.
Yeah.
Now you're mute. Might be something else with your microphone.
Well, while you're getting it together, I think everybody brought up a lot of great points, and I think for me, I was talking to Ellie about this earlier, and it's like, when I go outside of my home, it's very, very easy for me to resist. It's like almost like I have a different mindset in some sense. When I see things when I'm out, like at the grocery store, I can walk by and like nothing phases me. If we go out to eat, I find it very easy to, choose carnivore options. Like I never seem to have any issue with it. But if stuff comes into my house, it's like there's still this weird thing that happens where like it talks to me, and so that's really my hard and fast rule still, that I feel like can be hard when not everybody in your family's carnivore, not everybody maybe 100% is on board with that. But I find that I experience much more temptation or cravings, if things are sitting in the cupboard and I know they're there, you know what I mean? And so I just make sure that I made some substitute candies for my little one to trade out for like any of the bad candy that she gets. And full disclosure, I'm going to let her have a few pieces. Like she's a healthy kid, and it's not that big of a deal, I think, for her to have a couple pieces of candy, but not to have this whole bucket, right? So I kind of limited what we picked up. For instance, when we were walking around, everybody wanted to give her like a handful at each little place we stopped. And so I would ask each person like, just one, please, or let her pick one. So I think she ended up with maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 pieces of candy in her bucket. So it's not like we're walking home with this huge, vessel of sugar and stuff. So that's one thing I try to do with her. But then I also made some things at home to substitute. However, I had sort of a thing like you did, Papa Carnivore, where I bought this organic 100% dark chocolate with nothing else in it. And then I melted that down and added for the whole bag of chocolate, I think I added 2 tablespoons of Wisconsin maple syrup that I brought back from my hometown. So as processed as that is, I guess. And she actually didn't really she ate a couple, but they were still so dark tasting that she was kind of not super into it. But I thought, oh, let me just try a little piece, right? Because it's not a big deal, and, in some ways it was good because I had a bad reaction to it. Like I felt like that caffeine high for a minute, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is what it felt like to drink coffee, and like that kind of that high you get where you just feel euphoric and it's like, oh, I have all this energy. But it lasted about 3 hours, and then I had a severe headache, which I never get headaches. I was irritable, tired, feeling my heart was racing, like I was about to panic. Her and I were about to go out, and I was like, I don't even know if I can drive right now. That's how bad my heart was racing. And so it was just like, it was just that proof of concept, right? That like, this is something that I can't add back in. And so I think that was really the deterrent that, I didn't go crazy after that. And also it was really not sweet, but that's a long way of saying that I still notice a difference between when I'm out of the house, it's super easy. But if even something, relatively off plan comes in my house, I'm like, oh, maybe I can just, have a bite of this or have a bite of that. And that typically doesn't go well in terms of how my body reacts to it. So distraction, I would say, is my number one solution to that. Like you've all mentioned some good strategies. Or instead of buying candy, I'll get like a new nail polish, like this pretty nail polish that I just picked up at the grocery store instead of buying like all the candy that was 70% off already at my store. So things like that, I'll try to just treat myself to something that's not food related that maybe I wouldn't normally buy. And then I can look at my pretty nail polish and then not eat candy. So those are kind of my thoughts.
Hey, I think one thing, Wayne, I think we were hearing an echo, and when you came in, are you listening to the podcast on another, like is anybody got this show turned on in another window or something?
People need to mute themselves when they're not speaking, and then somebody has their speaker on and there's a delay and it's coming back through their microphone.
Oh, whoever just did that,
I think someone's got a window open as well.
That was me.
All
Okay.
right, yeah. Only unmute when you talk, I think helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, the echo's gone.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you
Yes.
now.
Oh,
Wayne.
okay.
Now we're good.
Okay, so Wayne, if you want to go ahead, and then we'll go to the next question.
Okay, and once again, because I'm new here, tell me what I'm doing here.
So we just the topic for tonight is mindset tricks and treats. So we just kind of are discussing things that work for us to manage cravings or temptations during this time of year, to stay carnivore. Things that we do.
Okay. There's a lot of things that you can do, but what I find, we have to know what our do-dos and our don't-dos are. We have to know those very clearly. And if you don't eat or you don't have a certain type of food, that needs to be a don't do. And once you establish that don't do, your subconscious mind is going to follow that a lot easier. For example, if there's foods that all of us, we just don't eat. Okay, I mean, we just don't eat them. For me, it would be sauerkraut. I don't care if I'm dying on an island somewhere. If there's sauerkraut, I'm not eating sauerkraut. Not happening. So if you can take that feeling, or the way that you look at sauerkraut and apply that to chocolate or whatever in the subconscious mind and makes that connection, then you're going to reject that a lot easier, because it's a don't do. So you have to establish what those are. I mean, my wife and I, we have literally lists that we've written down, that there are things that we just don't eat, even though we like them, but they're just on the list that we just don't eat them. And as simple as that sounds, it's very effective. So that's my 2 cents.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that echoed as well by others in the group. So I guess, well, John, you kind of separated your tricks and treats. So maybe we could, focus in on that. Are there any things about this time of year that you enjoy that are non-food related that maybe you want to share that people could focus on? Just some other things. I know, Ellie, you kind of mentioned a couple things up front, but maybe we have some other ideas, or we can just kind of leave it open if anybody wants to jump in on that one.
I'll pick that up since I didn't share that half of it. I talked about my tricks to stay on track that work for me. Treats are things that, what I used to look forward to as a treat, what was a treat before, was actually harming me. It was dangerous to my body, but yet I still did it. That's almost part of the definition of what addiction is. You can't stop doing it even though it harms you. And then you feel bad on the back end, but you keep doing it. Now that I know how to eat properly and eat for nutrition. I have a totally different mindset. Treats for me are foods that I don't indulge too much in because they're too expensive, or they're hard to find. So I found recently raw kefir in a Sprouts Market nearby. And I'm like, oh my, it has the warning label, for pets only. If you're a human, don't ingest this, warning, warning. So I'm like, oh, there's the stuff I want. So I tried some of this raw kefir and oh my gosh, it hit the dopamine receptors. I just loved it. So I have a little bit of that after a meal as part of my meal. That's a treat for me. I have
I'm sorry. What is that? What is that?
a kefir is kind of like a yogurt, but it has more of the healthy bacteria. It's like a yogurt. So it's a dairy product, and it's very strong, and it's very healthy for your reestablishing or populating your gut microbiome. It's very good for you.
And why do you like it? What is it about?
It's the creamy dairy. I'm a dairy lover. I used to love ice cream and anything thick and creamy cheese, whatever. So this turns on all my switches. So it's a treat for me, raw kefir. And if I've tried some of the pasteurized and homogenized kefirs that they sell in the store, next time you go to the store, Wayne, look at the yogurt section and you'll see a little section of kefir. Some people pronounce it kefir. All right. And it's in the same category as a yogurt. I have an ice cream maker called the Ninja Creamy. I can buy, organic heavy whipping cream, and I can make my own ice cream, but I don't sweeten it. And it's the same kind of excitement for me. That's a treat. I can make something creamy and delicious that mimicked ice cream. And it's carnivore because it's all animal products in there. It's dairy. I don't indulge in dairy too much because I like it too much, and it can become an addiction like chocolate can. So I know my limits there. I'll buy a prime rib for Thanksgiving or for Christmas and slow cook it. And it's absolutely amazing. Picanha, I have about once every 2 weeks or so. Love it. Little on the expensive side, but it's worth it. And it's such a treat. I love lobster. We all know that's expensive, but there's a treat that I can give myself. And if you know what uni is a sea urchin. It's a Japanese sashimi delicacy. It is my favorite food on the planet Earth, uni.
Do you really like uni?
The flavor just it just hits all the buttons
crazy.
in my brain. I love it. It's extremely expensive and very rare and hard to find. But whenever, like maybe once a year, I get to have some uni. And I actually get a little raw quail egg on top of it. And they put it on top of a cucumber, which I don't eat. And I just slurp it down and close my eyes. And you should see me. It's like I'm having sex. It's such an amazing flavor. So those are my treats.
My eyes.
That I indulge in that are healthy, that are part of my way of eating. And I don't get at them too frequently because they're expensive or they're hard to find or they're rare. So there's my 2 cents for my treats.
So I have a 4-year-old and 2-year-old. So they're fairly new to this whole Halloween thing, right? And for me, Halloween has never been actually about the candy. It was always about dressing up and being able and having that experience of pretending to be someone else or just having fun in a costume with my cousins and everything like that. And so I kind of instilled that same value also. And I don't even think my daughter just walked out the room. I don't think she knows about the candy. Hi, mommy. Hi, mommy. So basically, so my kids are not carnivore. They did carnivore. Hold on, 1 second.
She's adorable.
He's like, get out. Sorry, everyone. So basically, so what was I saying? So basically it's about the costume. It's about the experience. And I don't think my kids really understand about the whole, because we've never really done trick-or-treating because where we live, it's like it's an older community, so they don't generally have that. And the past 2 years, what we've done is done trunk or treat. And so if you've never heard of a trunk or treat before, you open the back of your trunk and you decorate it within a theme. And we did a tavern one year, and then we did in like video games and fantasy D&D and stuff. We did like a mimic, which is like a treasure chest with like fangs. Okay, anyway, so it became like a little bit of a tradition to have that activity of creating that experience, and we would hand out Pokemon cards. And so they didn't have trunk or treat this year, so we didn't do it. But it felt good to us to know that we weren't handing out something that could potentially be hurting other kids. And I'm not saying if you pass out candy, it's bad. I'm just saying that for us, we chose not to do it, and it felt good to just, pass out the cards and everything like that. But what we did for a treat was when we went to church, they had like a spooky day, and the kids, my little boy did not want to dress up this year. He was like, "No, I'm me." And I was like, "Okay, you be you." But my daughter was a princess. I stole her crown for the stream, and we gave her Lily's chocolate chips. That's what we did. And we gave her some like coconut rolls, and she was so happy because she never gets that stuff. And it was a treat. It was an indulgence without being like over the top, So there are, if you feel like you have to be strict carnivore, I know that some people, they struggle with not being able to moderate. But if you feel like you can, I'd say why not try, and then you can learn from the experience. But if obviously I'm not telling you to go do that, but with the kids, they eat really well, they're healthy, and so that was what we did. And maybe if a grandparent or a parent is watching, maybe they could do something like that too.
Just going to jump in here real quick and let everybody know the hot seat has been left in the chat. So if you are in the audience right now and you would like to show off your costume or come sit on here with us for a minute and give your tips and tricks, your tricks or treats for us, then just click on that link and I'll let you in. Anybody else have thoughts?
Yeah, I like Ellie's take on it too. They, like I said, like in Japan, it's more about just having fun as like the social side of things, not the actual like eating candy side of things. I think if you can get your kids away from that, I think you're going to be pretty safe. But also yourself as well, like make it more social sort of thing. Have a barbecue. It's just enjoy. It's another excuse to socialize, and to be around other people, have some fun.
I was going to say, for me, piggybacking on what John said, as far as some treats, some of my carnivore treats are much the same. Anything seafood, lobster, king crab legs. I mean, John and I, where we first met at this, it's a sushi Japanese buffet place, and they got all kinds of clams and oysters on the half shell, as much as you can eat, all kinds of sushi. And I won't eat the rice, but they have, the sashimi, the tuna, the yellowtail, just anything seafood like that is a huge treat for me.
That was a treat night for us. I was feasting on about 25 oysters and shrimp and mussels. And
I mean, it's crazy. And what is it, John? About $30?
Yeah, it's pretty affordable.
So, I mean, for $30,
that's
it's
a treat.
Like unlimited seafood. You can pile it on shrimp.
It's not fatty enough. That's the only thing. I'm not getting enough fat. I'm getting too much protein, but to me, it's a treat.
Yeah. So that's my treat. The other treat for me, and I got to be careful, is brie cheese. I don't know if any of you, it's a pretty fatty cheese, but, I'll have get the big wheel at Costco. It's from Normandy, France. This stuff's incredible. And I'll, take a little slice, whatever. And some nights, I don't do it often, but after dinner, I might have a little piece of that. And for me, little things like that will really hold me over. So I know we're not supposed to snack, but once in a while, I'll, have the seafood, or I'll have a little piece of cheese. And that's, that goes a long way.
All right, we've got our hot seat backstage here. You ready? Who's it going to be? Carnivore Lori. Welcome.
Hey, Lori, we finally meet.
How are you?
Hi.
Hi.
You want to give
Hi,
us your thoughts
Papa.
on? You want to give us your thoughts on how
I
you're
don't
doing
have
this
any
time of year? How you
tricks.
handle
I'm
things?
just happy to. Hi.
Okay. Anybody else have treats they want to share? They do, Christy?
I find it easy because I live alone and all my children are grown and my grandchildren aren't around. So the only trouble I had was at the grocery store one time. They were giving away free candy. And I don't know why I took it. I was going to put it right in the garbage. The garbage was right there. And I thought, oh, maybe somebody will come by. I'll just keep it. Same thing that happened to Papa. Yeah, there was about, I think, 5 of them. So I ate them all.
I want to make a point that somebody said something in the comments that really hit home with me, and I heard it in a whole interview with somebody else. I forget where it was. And it was when we're offered things at work or somewhere at a party and it's free. It's there. They're giving it to you for free. It's a much higher temptation and a much harder resistance to accept that or to not take that because it's free and it's in your face and everyone else is eating it. Versus if you are tempted, you have to physically get in the car and go to the store and buy it and make that commitment and come home and eat it. Big, big difference when it's free and offered to you. So there's that as well. So we can, going back to tricks, is to put yourself out of the line of sight of that. If you're in the party, sit somewhere else. If they offer it to you, just say no as fast as you can and get out of the way. Otherwise, it's just too easy to indulge when it's handed. Some people put it in your hand as you're walking by. I mean, it's just too easy. So, try to resist that.
So I already mentioned a couple of my treats, and someone already said picanha. I love picanha, so I would definitely make one of those. The fat on that is just so stinking good; you cannot beat it. And then the other thing that I don't do very often, but it's just such a different texture, is I do like a little carnivore muffin with pork rinds and an egg and some butter and like a little bit of baking powder. And if you're like missing a bread kind of a texture or anything like that, it's actually really delicious and really easy to do. And you just put some butter on that. It's really good. And when I first started, I was doing those a lot more. And now I just kind of have it, I don't know, once every couple of months, I'll be like, oh yeah, that little carnivore muffin, that sounds good. And it's kind of like a little treat because it's a texture we don't get, a lot. But mostly, now I really just have the idea in my head that, it's not a restriction. Like people say, oh, it's so restrictive. It doesn't, it's really a choice, and it's a choice because of health. Right. So that, I feel like I needed to do the treats. The treats were now there really are more like treats. They were almost daily when I first started, just to keep me like going and staying, just to stay carnivore. Just stay carnivore today. And like however you have to do that. And that's just become fewer and far between. I noticed the same thing with my son. So he's a lot more like, where's the chuck roast, mom? He's not like, where's the cheese? As much as he was, at the beginning. So I think for me, at least, that's just something that's, evolved over time. The other day I made some like carne asada, which came with my half beef that I bought. And I was like, oh, let's try this. And I cut it up super thin and cooked it in some beef tallow. Rick, you would have been so proud. I cooked it in my beef tallow. But then I put a couple of spoons of sour cream. I was just like, I have sour cream in there. Let me put a couple spoons of that on. So that's not something I do every day, but that was pretty delicious with a little sour cream on there. And Ellie's got a treat right now. It's some ribeye. I'm jealous.
Ooh.
Yes.
The other thing I got the other day, I got some the whole milk cottage cheese, and I really don't eat that a lot, but I got a thing of it just to try it. And it was really, it was good. I had, a couple tablespoons, then not a lot, just, like, ooh, like I'm cheating in some way, ooh, little cottage cheese. But yeah.
Gotta love that dairy. I think Peter, you and I, we love our dairy, and it's those casomorphins. We're susceptible to them. We have to be careful.
When I first started out and I was keto, I got at Sprouts. They have this Nancy's whole milk yogurt, Greek yogurt.
Making me salivate.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's so good. And I would put blueberries or whatever in, berries in it, and a little monk fruit, sweetener, natural monk fruit. But, that was back in the keto. And now I know if I have that sweet taste, it kills me. But a little bit of cottage cheese was okay for me.
I think you guys are going to be tempting yourselves into a treat this afternoon.
Well, Christy just reminded me, because I haven't made what Christy mentioned in a long time. And I'm like, oh, that's right. I remember that with the pork rinds and the bacon fat and the cheese. You make this little muffin, and it's like a muffin. It's really delicious. So thanks for reminding me, Christy. I'm going to go back. I'll probably make one tomorrow because I forgot about that. I make chaffles a lot, which is just egg and cheese with this little waffle iron. And it's the same consistency and texture as a waffle. I use it to, put an egg in it and hold things. It's delicious.
Those muffins you talk about, those are heart attack buns. Those are what I use in my heart attack burger.
Rick's name for it.
I love that 2-pound burger. Bacon is optional, but you got to have 4 1/2-pound patties, and you have to have 8 slices of cheese, and you have to cook everything in beef tallow. That fat has to be running down that. I mean, it's similar to the Heart Attack Grill's burger, except mine has more calories. That's a treat for me. It used to be a regular thing, but with the cost of everything, I've had to restrict it. I don't have it that often anymore. So now, since I'm kind of poor, my treat would be heading over to the canal with a net and some duck food, and maybe catching a fat, delicious duck, or maybe shooting an iguana, or catching a parking lot chicken. Those are real treats right there. And shrimp has been really cheap at the Fresco y Mas. It's been $2.98 a pound. So I've had shrimp on a more regular basis. In fact, for a while, the shrimp was cheaper than the ground beef. But now I think the ground beef is $2.79 a pound at Gordon Foods. So I'll pick some of that up on Saturday. And hopefully by then I'll have my air conditioner finished, because I'm putting a new air conditioner in the other room. So hopefully I won't have to be in the living room whenever I do a live stream. I can do it in there when it's quieter. But all those things that you mentioned are treats. I like the idea of a lobster. It's been years since I had a lobster. And the kefir and the yogurt, I ferment that regularly. So I do eat dairy every single day. And it's usually going to be that yogurt that I ferment. But that stuff ferments for 24 hours. So it's a pretty good fermentation. And it's actually made from sauerkraut. So it's not even made from yogurt. So it's probably more like kefir than it is yogurt. But that's like a regular thing. But all the treats that you mentioned, I like. They sound good. You're making me hungry.
I know. This is why I have to stick to non-food treats, because I will literally overeat. If I make those carnivore bread things with the pork rind, cream cheese, egg, or whatever, it's like cottage cheese bread, I'll eat that whole thing. You know what I mean? It's just enough. And it might be the dairy, which inflames me anyway. So I try to avoid it because it makes my knees hurt. But, it's like, even if it's carnivore, sometimes I can it's a mental trigger for me. I will binge on that stuff sometimes if I think that it's a treat. So I'm sticking to bath salts, like Christy brought up, nice salt bath. Candles are the other thing I have bought lately, and decorating. That's the thing that I did want to mention. The last couple years, I've decorated more than I ever have for seasons. And I think that's been really fun. And it's I get to dig out the box with my little one, and we get to, put all the candles up, and we have lights out everywhere, and just making it feel really festive and cool in here. For the seasons too was another thing that I feel like is a treat.
Hey, real quick, would you mind if I asked where everyone is from?
Sure. I can tell you, I'm originally from Philadelphia. I lived in San Antonio, Texas for 15 years, and that's where I raised my kid. My son and daughter are in San Antonio and Austin. and I'm in South Florida where Rick is, not too far. I'm in Boca Raton, South Florida.
And I'm going to chime in because I'm his neighbor. I'm just west of Peter in Boca Raton. I was also born in the Philadelphia area, so we have that in common when we met each other. And I lived in Maryland for a while, and now I live here in Boca.
I'm from New York originally. I moved here in Florida. I'm near like the Tampa area, and I've been here about 24 years. Wow. Amazing.
And I'm from Southern California, about halfway between LA and San Diego.
I'm from Miami. I've lived in Miami for 56 years. I may be the only person who was born here and still lives here. Hopefully it won't be for too much longer. But yeah, I think I'm the southernmost and the tallest carnivore in this group.
You're like 6'6", right, Rick?
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
6'6".
6'6".
I'm an inch
Wow.
taller than Dr. Sean Baker.
Dang.
Yeah. Well, you should get to know Rick Wayne. He's quite the character. We're talking about iguana and chickens, parking what chickens, things like that. He or the Miami Lurch or the Miami Yeti.
He's the duck charmer.
That's so. How did all of you Florida people get involved with a Texas girl?
I met Christy on
Me
a
being
live.
that Texas girl right here, you know,
yeah.
y'all.
Well, it's not Christy.
Yeah, but she's
Neah.
really Wisconsin.
Yeah,
We met
I
online,
was
and then
born in
some of us
Wisconsin,
met
but-
at a Hack Your Health in Austin and got to meet in person. I met some of these people on the screen in person, which is kind of cool. But a lot of us met each other on live streams like this.
And I would love to do a shameless plug. So Christy and I, we have a live stream show called Lioness Lifestyle, and we saw that Neah was an amazing example of a woman doing a carnivore diet because we love to feature a woman doing carnivore, keto, meat-based diet and just tell their healing story. So we had Neah come on, and then friendship was born from there.
My first carnivore friends.
And we're on Stadium Sound now.
Wayne, while you're unmuted, somebody had a question about your background. If I can scroll back.
Sure.
Lori's carnivore story. Are you in healthcare? What's your story?
Am I healthcare? Well, I guess you could consider it that. My background. What do you mean background? What I mean, are you talking about how I got involved with hypnosis?
You can go watch his interview on my podcast channel. I think we talked about
Yeah.
it, and he goes into it. But but you currently do hypnosis, right? And then, but you're also carnivore.
Right. Yeah, and it spreads out into a lot of different areas. Yeah, watch the interview. It kind of give you a real good baseline, and then if my intention is to be here whenever you guys meet. This is my first time here. My wife and I live in South Texas, and we have a small ranch, if you will. We have cows and goats and pigs and chickens and horses and dogs and cats, and I got animals I don't even know about. So, and we grow them for our own consumption, and then we also have clients or customers that we sell them to. So the next time that we get together, I'm gonna have a surprise for you guys, an offer. So, who likes
Surprise.
beef jerky?
Oh, that sounds good.
Everybody, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. Because I make my own beef jerky. So,
Can you mail me some?
well, that may be part of the offer.
Oh, okay.
I'm liking this.
So-
Sounds good.
So, yeah. I'm going to be going to see my daughter in Tennessee after Thanksgiving because I'm driving up to Dallas area which is where I'm from, and my daughter sent me a text message. Look, if you come, make sure you bring beef jerky. I go, okay, because I make some really good beef jerky.
Yeah, and that's hard to find clean carnivore jerky in this day and age.
Yeah,
So it's good
yeah,
to make it on your
yeah.
own.
No, it is. Yeah, it is. I don't use any sugars or anything, but it's spicy and so if you like spicy, that's my stuff is what you like. So, but anyway,
Cool.
I'm
Well,
really
with
happy to be here. I'm looking forward to this.
yeah, we always have a great time on here, and it's I email a lot of people and just whoever can join, and so with the last few minutes we have, maybe we'll just go around once again through everybody and let us know about your channel, what you've got coming up, any final thoughts you'd like to leave us with tonight. So we'll start with Ellie again.
Hey everyone, it's been a really great time chatting and being spooky with everybody, talking about our tricks and treats. I'm Ellie, and I have a channel called Nourishment Redacted, and it's been my journey it's me sharing my journey from going from a mental illness with panic attacks and chronic constipation, bad skin, and apparently I have lipedema also. I didn't know that. And then I used to be 240 pounds at my heaviest, and now I'm like in the 170 range. And I've been on carnivore. I did carnivore for about a year and a half. Recently I've had a miscarriage, so I'm taking like a little bit of a break, and I'm doing more low carb but very heavy meat base, and I'm coming back. I'm coming back, guys. So I'm slowly tapering off, and it feels good, and I'm happy to do it. And basically I share about my journey for my heart, body, mind, and soul. And it's really important for me to connect with others and to inspire and just have a good time here on YouTube and hang out with all you guys too.
I'm John Laspina. I'm the Carnivore Teacher on YouTube. I put a short 3 to 7 minute little lesson out because I used to be a teacher. Now I teach on YouTube about the carnivore way of eating. And I put a lesson out every day. I put a song out every Wednesday where I change the lyrics. Sometimes Christy joins in with me and we do a duet. And I'm trying to pay it forward. And my life has changed so drastically in the positive. So many things have improved. I talk about all that on my channel. And I do a live every Wednesday night. We did one last week. And I'm just trying to be one of the people out there trying to reach other people with the message of the proper human diet, is what a lot of us call it, from Dr. Ken Berry's site, eating properly to maximize our emotional, physical, and mental health. It's priceless and so empowering to make you feel great that I'm making a channel. A lot of us are doing this. We're making a channel because it means that much to us, and that's why I'm on as well.
Well, if you've seen me before, hopefully you have. I'm Rick. I was known as the 40-year carnivore, although now I am the 41-year carnivore. I'm the exception to all the rules in the carnivore chats, it seems, because I'm not tempted by anything except for meat and animal-based foods. I've been carnivore most of my life, not because I was trying to get healthier or have anything good happen. I was actually looking for a heart attack or to gain weight, whereas most people wanted to lose weight. And of course, I failed on both of those accounts. I'm probably the least popular of the carnivores because I'm not the one that everybody looks up to. I'm not a good example for anybody, but I am known as the one who chases after ducks, iguanas, and whatever else I can catch, including parking lot chicken. My version of the carnivore diet is one of having fun, making people laugh, and making people think. And a lot of times, just having someone like me around sort of shows that you don't have to be like everybody else to be on the carnivore diet. And the beauty of this lifestyle is that as long as you keep an open mind and you try to do your best, you're going to have success. My only weakness is that I can't seem to convince other people I know to join me on the journey, but I'm trying. And I've been on YouTube for 17 years, but for other reasons. I've yet to meet anyone in person, but I'm sure that'll happen. But I'm hoping that sooner or later somebody will see me and recognize who I am, say hi to me just out of the blue, and maybe tell me that they tried the carnivore diet, or at least they went on a low carb, meat based diet, and they got some benefit from it. Because now that I know that this is a diet and a lifestyle that can benefit people, I was happy to put myself out there, and I've been doing it for the last 2 years, hoping that I can give other people an example they can look at. They're not going to follow it, at least I don't think, but they will learn. Even if it's just like that car wreck that you just can't stop looking at when you drive by, or you know that there's going to be a disaster and you just have to look. So that would be like my channel. So, and there's a little of everything there. This is not one of those YouTube channels that's going to tell you about the benefits of the carnivore diet. I'm just going to show different things that I do in my life, try to show you that it's not just what I eat, but it's also the attitude that I have, the things that I do, and I try to solve problems the best way that I can. And I encourage everybody else to do the same. And if you want to check out my channel, I'll be glad to have you there. And if you happen to see me in person, don't forget, I'm easy to meet. I might be the only person who's not on the basketball team who's 6'6" and in Miami.
Rick, you're so awesome. I laugh every time. It's great. Anyways, my name is Christy, and my channel is Meeting Wellness. And similar to what John up there was talking about, I created my channel because I went on the proper human diet myself, keto back in February of 2023, and then carnivore in June of that same year. And I had so many benefits that I thought I've got to share this with other people. And little did I know that that would kind of lead me to becoming a part of this wonderful carnivore community. And I think that's a lot of the reason why even now I'm just more excited to be doing this, because it's not just me. I'm not the only one that's crazy and just eating meat. I've met all of you wonderful people, and I enjoy it so much, as well as all the people on the live streams. I do a lot of live streams on my channel. It's one of the things I enjoy, interacting with all of you in the comments. I also have things on my channel like the recipes that I like to make, and more recently, my son going carnivore and all of the changes that have been happening with him. It's been so amazing to be able to witness that in person, and to hopefully, well, definitely to document that, but hopefully so that some other person who, if they have a child who has ADHD, will maybe be inspired to give this a try. In fact, I've been asked very recently to write a little something for Jenny Midich's book that she's going to have coming out in regards to that. And so I will be turning that into her shortly. I'm not sure when her book comes out, but stay tuned for that. And Ellie was talking earlier about Lioness Lifestyle Live. We have a dedicated channel just for that podcast/live stream. And Ellie already talked about that. We get a different meat-based woman on every single Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Join us over there. Again, it's a dedicated channel. Come subscribe, Lioness Lifestyle. We have a great time roaring with each other on Tuesdays. And my son just informed me he got invited to a last-minute trick-or-treat like in 25 minutes. So I have to go be a mom and figure that out. So I'm going to pop off. But good night, everybody.
See you, Christy.
Thanks, Christy.
I love her. Bye.
Wow, that's really hard to follow. Rick and Christy. Oh my God. Well, I'm Papa Carnivore. My real name's Peter. 19 months carnivore. As of tomorrow, November 1st, will be my 19th month carniversary. So that's pretty big. Lost 101 pounds. Reversed type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, migraines, IBS. Acid reflux, sleep apnea. I could keep going on if you want. Depression, anxiety, ADHD. I'm off all meds, which is amazing. Feel great. My energy levels are off the charts. For all of you guys probably know who Kerry Mann is from Homestead How. He will be interviewing me tomorrow at 10 a.m. For his channel. I met him at the meetup. Mitch from Old Guy Carnivore. Many of you know him. Great channel. Highly recommended. Old Guy Carnivore. Had a meetup in Melbourne, Florida a week ago. And I met John, Carnivore Teacher there. John was the first carnivore I ever met, by the way, in 19 months. It only took me 19 months, John. And I saw Carrie there. Dr. Kiltz was there, Dr. Nelson. It was incredible, and about 20 carnivores. It was one of the best days I've had in decades. I can't even explain to you what it's like. I've never been in a room with people who eat this way, not even keto, really. So it was just amazing. So I got a chance to sit down with Carrie, and I started telling him my story a little bit. And he said, "Oh, I got to have you on my channel." So that interview, he said, is going to drop probably about a week from tomorrow. So just be on the lookout. I will let everybody know. But if you want to hear my story, like an extended interview on Carrie's channel, that's my big news.
Well, yeah, for me, I don't know. I guess I'm just a little bit different situation. I'm just trying to show people that you can come back from pretty much anywhere, from some of the darkest places you could probably think of, really. This month actually marks 10 years remission for me, after being in stage 4 twice in 2 years, for follicular lymphoma. I spent 3 years in doing chemotherapies that left me with a lot of consequences. It left me with a lot of side effects. So these are the sort of things, like if you are having trouble, when you talk about thinking about treats and foods and things like that, think about the consequences, because nothing is free. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Okay, you pay for it in what it does to your body. So these are things that I think makes it a little bit easier for me, because I have a pretty serious reason to stay off that sort of stuff. But whatever your reason for doing the carnivore diet, for starting it in the first place, just try and keep that in mind. But having said that, don't be too hard on yourself either. It's if you do slip off, the carnivore diet is a great tool to get back on track and to keep yourself going afterwards. When you do suffer those consequences, for example, headaches and things like that, carnivore diet will set you straight again. But my channel, Learning to Live, is basically, I'm talking to people who, well, I talk to a lot of people actually. I'm talking, about their healing stories. In fact, this weekend I'll be dropping another interview with someone who 12 years ago, about the same time I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And he was only given maybe 2 to 5 years at the best to live, but he's still going strong, and in fact is now studying for his PhD in cancer biology. Very interesting guy, very inspiring. So come and check out that interview, because it is worth watching. But I want to show people that this lifestyle, this way of eating, is about, will help you come back from whatever problems you are having, like health wise. It's certainly your best chance to try and recover, and to maybe try and lead a normal life again, and to hopefully inspire you to keep going, keep trying, because you don't get anywhere just by giving up. So you got to keep taking one step at a time, one foot in front of the other, and just keep pushing. So that's pretty much me. So come check out the channel, and I'll also be I also will be doing more on the way I came back, actually, because I'm now back in the gym most days, and people have told me that they're interested in that. So I will be doing some more exercise videos and things like that as well. Okay, so that's me.
Wayne, any final thoughts, or you want to introduce people to your channel?
What a pleasure to meet all you folks. It's very interesting stories and inspirations, and I'm really happy to be here. It's just, you know, I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to the next one and that. So, as far as what's a question? What are we doing?
Just any final thoughts on the topic for tonight? Parting words of wisdom?
Final thoughts. Don't stop. Keep going forward. You know, there's sometimes you take 2 steps forward and get knocked back 3, and as long as you don't stop, you go back, you know, go 4 forward, and then you get 2 back, but incremental. So, you know, that's what I would leave everybody with. So,
Yeah, that's cool.
oh, and
Awesome.
I think I put in the chat. Is there a list of everybody's channel?
I have been slacking on this, but typically I'll tag everybody in the description that was on the show tonight after we're done. So I'll do that tonight.
Gotcha.
And then you can click on everybody.
I'd
And
love to see
everybody in the
everybody's
audience
channel
can
and
do
just to
that too.
visit it. So, outstanding. I already got on. I'm already on Ellie's, so I already subscribed to that.
Wayne, I'm going to
Awesome.
put my email in the chat, and if you want to email me your email, I'd love to have you on Wednesday nights at 7 if you're available.
I am for you, as good looking as you are. I will be available.
All right, I'm typing.
Tell me, I don't know how to sling it.
You're good at complimenting, and I guess I'm going to get some jerky out of it too. Okay, there's my.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for watching
email.
tonight. We appreciate all of you. I hope you have a happy Halloween. You know, if you're celebrating it or not, however you're celebrating it. And thank you to everybody on the panel. I appreciate all of your time, and we will see you in 2 weeks for another Carnivore Mastermind. So take care, everybody, and good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Be good.
Good night.
Make good choices.
Yes.
Yeah.